embarrassed about being in the picture.
And because if you wouldn't change your name to Gaylord St. James.
No, I don't think anyone thought about that. Because I guess at the time that was a normal name, but nowadays you would never call yourself that. But I don't think that was. I mean, he was embarrassed to be in the picture. Don't get me wrong, but this wasn't why. It was because it was a non-union movie, and he was in the Screen Actors Guild, and he wasn't allowed to be in it, so he changed his name. So,
although Gaylord St. James would be good.
That would be a great, like, how Fred Lincoln didn't take that name, I don't know. But it is unknown, but very possible that Eleanor Shaw, who was credited as Cynthia Carr, did the same. But Wes believes...
I have to do what to what this movie?
Yeah.
I'm not using my real name.
I mean, in all fairness, she did the least of the amount... Well, no, she didn't. Sorry, no, wait. I forgot she bit off Weasel's dick. Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm not using my real name.
Yeah. I'm Cynthia Carr. How are you? Richard Towers was also a talent manager.
Dick Towers.
Yeah, he was Dick Towers. That's a porn name.
If there ever was a porn name.
Dick Towers.
Dick Towers. Hi, I'm Dick Towers.
Dick Towers. Talent manager.
Sure.
He was the manager to a struggling stand-up comedian named Mark Scheffler. And that's how Mark got the part. A lot of this was just like people going to Wes and Sean going, I know this guy, they could be perfect. Or I know this chick, she'll be great.
Failed comedian.
He really was, yeah. But he's apparently a very successful writer now. He's writing now.
Hey, when in doubt, go to the page. Mm-hmm. Write out your stories and make your money.
I mean, in all fairness, of most of these people, he's probably, I think, the most successful. Most of them quit acting after this, and Jeremy Rain, her only success is she married Richard Dreyfuss. I was married to him for like 15 years. That's about it. She disappeared from acting.
Richard Dreyfuss is dope.
Yeah. Well, they're not married anymore, unfortunately, but, you know, good for them. I like me some Richard Dreyfuss. That's about it. There's really nothing to say about that. Other than David Hess auditioned after being recommended by Martin Kove. Again, everybody knows fucking everyone. Martin Kove was the deputy. On the day he went to the audition, he was told by Martin to wear a very huge sweater to look big. It being the summer, and it was hot as fuck, when he went to the audition, he was so hot, he just got there and then yelled at Wes and Sean, and just basically said, I'm here, goddammit, what do you want me to do? And then he got the role in 10 minutes.
Is that how just you get a part in a Wes Craven movie? Or
yeah, because I literally wrote it down as that's how Ken Sagos got the role of Kincaid. Yeah,
so
you just yell at people.
Come into the thing, just boot the door open, come in, just go, fuck you, you're an asshole, you fucking look funny, go fuck yourself.
You're cool, fuck you.
I got the part, cool, peace out, bitch, and then just leave.
Basically, when they asked him to leave the room, Sean said, he's a lunatic, we have to hire him.
That dude's nuts.
Yeah. And
find him up.
After casting him, they asked him, hey, what do you do? And he said, I'm a musician, at which point they asked him to do the soundtrack.
Hey, well, you know what?
If you can, you're saving money.
You're saving money.
The soundtrack
You'll be our main bad guy, and you do our music, buddy.
The soundtrack was written and performed by Stephen Chapin and David Hess.
Lyrics and music?
Yeah.
Music lyrics?
Stephen Chapin is actually the brother of Harry Chapin, the singer. Mostly Stephen Chapin did the incidental stuff, like the score, and David Hess did the original songs. That's his voice singing. So The Road Leads to Nowhere, that's Krug.
And then that fucking...
And that weird, like, the foreshadowing one of, like, Junior and Sadie.
Yeah, that's super... That's, like, super happy fucking song where they're talking about these psychopaths.
I mean, I gotta tell you, that shit's on my iPod.
Catchy,
it's amazing as fuck. That song is fantastic.
We'll get to the music.
I love the music in this movie. Out of place as fuck, but I love it.
Yeah.
Sandra Peabody responded to an ad to audition in a magazine called Backstage. Wes and Sean originally wanted her to play Phyllis, but after meeting her, they cast her as Mary. Here's where shit gets a little real.
Oh.
So the relationship between Sandra Peabody and David Hess was turbulent throughout the making of the film, as David remained in character off camera and ignored the discomfort that she felt while filming the violent scenes. Again, we're getting serious here for a minute.
Hey, David, now's not the time to be a method actor.
Let me state before I say the rest of this, because I do have quite a bit of shit here. Sandra Peabody is perfectly fine with the movie. Doesn't have any ill will towards anyone.
David Hess included?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's just like, she's understanding he was going method and but it's not just David Hess she has to worry about, but we'll get to that. She is fine. Let me just say that. But what they did to her, and what some of the things I'm not saying they did to her...
It's actually a miracle that she's well-adjusted.
Yes.
Because she went through some shit. Movie.
Yeah.
More or less, young adult. Whatever.
Let me just put it this way. A lot of her acting on screen that comes off very natural is because she was terrified.
Yep. That's how most of these movies were made back then.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, according to various cast and crew members...
It's called exploitation.
Yeah. According to various cast and crew members, actress Sandra Peabody was genuinely terrified through most of the shoot, at one point walking off set. They couldn't find her for a day to finish filming. She had to be convinced to come back. She stated she was genuinely upset during the filming of the more violent scenes as she felt unprepared. Because that was the thing. She was not prepared to do it to start.
Oh, you need to mentally get yourself into a headspace to do something.
Well, they got her there in a way you don't want. She says, quote, "I was upset because I'm an emotional person, and I reacted to what was going on as if it were real. I had a really hard time with some of the scenes because I had come out of acting school where it was all about preparation and everything had to be real. I ended up doing a horrible job in the film. I disagree. I was very upset, and I felt like I should have channeled that, but I couldn't. I was a very young actress, and I was still learning to balance my emotions I had from outside of the film into my scene work." Hess revealed that he actually got very physical with her during the filming of the rape scene, and that she couldn't do anything about it once the camera was running.
That's a poor choice of words.
Yes. During this particular shot, assistant director Yvonne Hanneman described it as an upsetting shoot, with her having to be consoled by Wes Craven throughout filming it due to the abuse that she was enduring.
Oof.
Like I said, I'm not saying any more about what was said to her at that time.
Right.
Peabody recalled one of the characters was a method actor, so he was trying to live out the part. He'd come after us with a knife at night trying to freak us out. This was the guy with the dark curly hair. She didn't know who he was. He tried to play his role on and off the set. It was like, lock your doors and windows at night. You don't want him to come get you. I was scared. I thought this guy had been a killer at some point in his past. Sandra states that although she was uncertain about a lot of the scenes would turn out, but she trusted Craven and Cunningham and their vision in the film. So, like I said, if you want to know what was said during all that shit, it's on the commentary. Go find it. It's not hard to find. In fact, it's everywhere. People have stated exactly what was said. I'm just not going to repeat it. This one is just as bad, though. Mark Scheffler had issues with her not emoting enough and claims during the one-on-one sequence with her, panicking and trying to get Junior to take her home. She just couldn't nail it. She just wasn't coming off as realistic or anything like that. And he said to Wes, "Let me talk to her for a minute," and he threatened to push her off a cliff if she failed to hit her mark. And said that they would film it, and she would have to go to the hospital, but they would at least get something out of it. So that scared her to the point where she was able to emote properly.
And it was Mark Scheffler, the actor.
Mark Scheffler.
Not the director.
No, this was the actor. The director didn't say...
You know what I mean?
No, they wouldn't do that.
Maybe the fellow actor shouldn't be telling me where my mark should be or what...
He was trying to... In his defense, which is really fucking hard to do, and I'm mostly just playing devil's advocate because I do not condone this, he was trying to get a realistic reaction out of it. That's not the way you do it. However, unlike the other two, and this is the last time I'll talk about it, he is actually remorseful about that.
Right.
Unlike the other two pieces of shit.
Right.
But again, one has passed away, so I don't want to do that. But that's hopefully all we can do that. Ada Washington was Sean Cunningham's maid and nanny growing up.
Fair.
See?
Fair. Hey.
That was something I said earlier.
Nanny Ada, you want to be in my movie? Sure.
It was kind of that.
Sweet.
I think he just
chicken truck.
He just thought she was interesting in the way she talked. So he's like, "Fuck it, get in the truck. This is gonna be hilarious." And it kind of was. She was entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. I know some people hate her, but fuck you. She was entertaining. The film was shot very cheaply which is why all the footage is graining, making it kind of looking like a documentary because the crew was a documentary crew, which helps push the idea that it was based on true events. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. So that whole thing in the beginning of it based on true events, bullshit. They even say that was the first thing that Wes and Sean said in their commentary of like, oh yeah, based on true events, this is a lie. Just because we can. Most of the locations were shot in Sean Cunningham's home and backyard. Again, they were trying to pocket as much movie as they can, so they did. Since everybody involved was new to filmmaking, they didn't know you needed permits, so they didn't have any. They honestly just believed because they had cameras and were filming, they could get away with it. For the most part, it worked. Most of the time, if anyone said anything, Sean would just say to people, "We're filming a movie, we'll be done in a little bit," and they'd get the shot and leave. They somehow got away with it. A lot of the situations and dialogue were improvised or made up on the spot by Wes, if it wasn't the actors, and it wasn't in the script, just because, again, they had no idea how to make a movie. With it being so improvised, it is said that Wes basically crafted the entire narrative of the film in the editing process, because there wasn't really much of a film there. So the editing. This is the interesting part, and we'll take up a bulk of it, because this film one of the things that this film is legendary for is just the editing, and not the editing you see on screen. It's because, well, I'll get to it. I'll explain why in a minute. Wes originally wanted Murray's father to kill Krug by slicing him multiple times with a scalpel during the climactic fight scene. Sean Cunningham insisted that the fight be more explosive and voted to have Krug killed with a chainsaw instead.
Kind of.
During the editing process, Sean went to Wes with a list of cuts he wanted to make, saying, "I think we went too far." Wes, not wanting to fight with his partner, agreed, but has stated that he wished he'd fought because ultimately the film suffered. Now, what those are, I don't know, because those were cut, and I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. They've never spoken. The original script has never been released. No one has spoken about what it is. Wes took it to his grave, whatever it was, and Sean is not talking. So whatever they originally had shot is gone.
Like the film?
They shot it. They shot a lot of stuff.
I guarantee you he probably has it. It's never going to see the light of day.
No, it isn't, and we'll get to why in a minute. But they all the cut footage was destroyed.
Okay.
For various reasons, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But yeah, things like that they cut, it was destroyed. Like, they didn't know to keep it. I don't know why. Although some of it is around. Like, some people do have cut footage. Like, Wes had some cut footage. Sean had some cut footage. They put it into the DVD, the version that you and I saw. But I'll get to that in a minute. Wes Craven, this is one of my favorite stories of filmmaking ever, because it proves their age and their inexperience. Wes Craven took the film to the MPAA, and they slapped it with an X rating. Wanting an R for wider release, Craven went back and removed 10 minutes of footage. However, this still wasn't enough, and the film got an X rating. Once again, Craven removed footage, this time taking about 20 minutes out, and it still wasn't enough. Finally, Craven put all the original footage back and got an authentic R rating seal of approval, because all you needed to get an R rating in a film was just have the footage that says, rated R by the MPAA, and just have it in the front of your movie, and then it was an R-rated movie. So he just got that footage from another film that wasn't being released, slapped it on the front of the movie, and released it as if it was an R. Just said, fuck it. They just made it up.
Yeah, it's R.
Yeah, it's an R rating, it's cool.
Sure.
Don't worry, we'll get to how that goes. Hallmark later did this with a few other exploitation films, and eventually the MPAA caught up with them and sued them.
Wait a minute. I thought we gave those movies X's. Yeah. Hold on a minute.
They settled out of court and made cuts to some of these movies to get an R rating. Ironically, Last House was returned with an R rating.
You know why?
Because it's arbitrary.
Well, that and the fact that the other ones were probably so even more explicit somehow that they went, you know what, compared to that shit,
it literally,
you know what, that is an R.
My guess is they screened Last House last.
And by then they're just like, you know what?
Fuck it, I don't care. R, it's fine. It's not as bad as that shit.
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that, like, filmmakers do forever, where they send in the most vile version of a film, cut all the shit out that they never wanted, send the real one. They're like, oh, this is much better.
And the bonus part is sometimes they go, yeah, sure. You're like, really?
So, fuck, really?
All right,
okay.
cool, thanks.
Yeah. When the film was released to theaters, after showings, people would be outraged. And
I'd imagine.
Do all manner of things, mostly attempting to get into the production booth to destroy the film.
Jesus. So, like, cut to the poor projection person.
Yeah.
And you're just hearing, like...
Yeah. It was like There was one who
Listen!
said one.
Stop the film!
One literally said it was like a zombie movie.
Jesus.
They were just